Hello guys, and welcome to another design breakdown. And on today's edition I'll be breaking down this particular design, how I did this design, and I'll be showing you the intricacies and the tricks I used to actually achieve this. A very, very simple um, birthday design, but with so much going on around it. Alright. So without any further ado, we'll just move straight into what we have. So here is my empty canvas. So now I wouldn't be redesigning it, I'll just be giving you breakdown layers by layers. And like I would always say, the arrangement of layers in my designs is not actually the way the composition came about. All right. And also a disclaimer, I'm not that type of designer who would sketch before he goes into their software to do the actual design and all of that. I don't sketch at all. I just go straight up, open my design, and throw a bunch of things inside and all of that. You get more like a chef trying out a new recipe. Right, so that's probably it. And I try as much as possible to feed off so many good guys on my different social media handles and different social media expressions. All right, so that's another trick to it, and that trick to getting inspired, or how I get inspired. I just decided to throw that in for those who always get so curious as to asking, how do you do this, how do you so I guess that has answered your question. So today's tutorial wouldn't be long, just going to be a very, very short stuff. So I go straight down to my layers. I have my layers panel on my right. For those who have it on your left, you know how to find your way. So first off, I have this what do you call it, palm tree like background. Is actually faded. I actually faded it. All right, the opacity is just 5%, just at 5% opacity. All right, and the blend mode is normal. All right, so actually when I got the pictures, his pictures, I saw this flowery stuff all over his clothes and all of that, and I was like, okay, so it was really giving me this Miami summer beach kind of feel. All right, so I knew definitely elements I'll be getting has to relate to that. And if there's anything that's related to Miami and all of that, it's the dolphins and the flamingos, excuse me, and the palm trees and all of that you get. So it was already giving that vibe, and I was like, okay, let's just see what elements we can train into this design. So that's how I went. I got this palm tree. Okay, two places where I get most of my stuffs now are, first of all, Envato elements, and free pick. All right, so I think I got this palm tree thingy from either of the two, either Envato or free pick, but I'm most likely sure I got it from Envato. All right, so I have a download pack, premium download pack from Envato. Should, in case you need it to add to your library collection, you could just holla in my DM on IG, and you get the rates and you go purchase it. All right, so that's that about that. So the next thing I did was to add some lines. I saw these lines on a particular design. I was like, okay, it gives the whole Miami vibe thingy and all of that going. So I just added lines, bunch of lines. On these lines are uneven lines. All right, they're uneven lines. So bunch of stacked rectangles together. Then made sure they arrange themselves like this, and I moved on to this now the circle. Initially I added this circle before this lines you're seeing here. All right, so if you need to also get the PSD to practice, you can also, I'll drop a link with the video, so you could also go purchase that and get all these resources together. It's like a template and all. So yeah, that's that. Then I actually have this same tree outside. All right, I have it inside the circle. I clip masked it into this circle. So what do I mean? Clip masking is more like putting an object into a different object. That's what clip masking is. So if you want to clip mask anything, you could just right click that particular object. Then you scroll down to now let me undo it. So this is what it is. But if you want to clip mask it over that particular layer it's on, you right click and you come down to create clipping mask. Right, so it will just jump right into this circle or that layer that is directly below it. So the next thing I did was to add I think a flamingo. Yes, I added the flamingo. Right, and I faded it a little bit because I didn't need the rest portion of it. So this is what the image of the flamingo looks like. Alright, so I got this image on Envato. Got an Envato, so I took it to it's actually an EPS image. So I took it to Adobe Illustrator. I got rid of the backgrounds and the unnecessary things that were with it. Then saved it as PDF and brought it straight into Photoshop. So I didn't really need all of this, right? So I had to fade out this whole stuff. So yeah, how do you fade? You create a layer mask, come down here, see add vector mask over that particular layer. Right, then it's always your layer thumbnail is always white, so you make sure you select your brush and you can reduce the opacity to somewhere around 10 or 20 or 15. Then make sure your foreground is black and your background is white. All right, because you're using black over a white. All right, if you're using black you want to conceal. If your foreground is black you want to conceal. If your foreground is white you want to reveal. Simple trick. All right, so but make sure your mask thumbnail is the reverse of what your foreground is. All right, so if I have a white mask here it means I'm painting black to hide. All right, if I have a black thumbnail here it means I should be using white to reveal. All right, so that's that about that. Then I added a hue and saturation over this. I don't know why I did though, but I think I was my aim was to change the color at some point, but I didn't really get to do that, so I just left it there. All right, so one of those things we happen to just leave there for just what do you call it, future necessities or something. Right, so I got to add in the pictures. I first added the pictures, although in the design, right, so I added pictures right before all of that. So it's just this arrangement that is making it look like no, I added the pictures now. I actually started adding the pictures right away at the beginning of the design. Right, so sorry I don't really make these videos at the beginning of each of my design processes and all, but I'll try to do better in coming days. All right, so bear with me. All right, then I have this picture here, then I have a text. All right, this is the text over his face. So it's just what I do is I go up to ChatGPT and I type in some prompts and it gives me some write-ups that I love putting up on my designs. All right, it actually has a very, very good ring to it. So what I did on that write-up was that I created a mask over that text layer. How do I get your text layer? You come to this place T, right, then you get your text. Well, you get your text thingy, your cursor, it keeps on following you wherever it is your mouse is. Then once you click on it, it generates a dialog, a small box where you can now type in your text. So I just lift directly from what do you call it, ChatGPT on my Chrome, then straight here, Ctrl V to paste. Right, so that's that. I created a mask over that text. Right, I've shown you how to create masks. So I created a mask over that text effect. Then I didn't need the text spilling off to the side, so I cleaned it out a little bit. All right, so that is just basically on the side of his face to this point down here. Then I changed the blend mode to overlay. And normally this is what the blend mode is, white. So but I didn't really want it white. I wanted it to patch up with the skin a little bit. So that's that. Then I have the other picture. All right, and if you notice, this picture is actually taking the shape of this circle. If you look down here, right? It's actually changing the shape of this circle, and there are really easy ways to do it. All right, so let me undo this and do it back. So this is what the picture look. Okay, I already converted this to a smart object already. Yeah, so but there are ways to do it. So first off, what you do is you come over to the particular, this particular ellipse I used. So actually, guys, if you notice, you see it, see the curves here. So you come over the ellipse, you hold command or control, depending on the system you're using or the OS you're using. So you hold on command, click on the thumbnail of that thing you actually want to take the shape of the mask. All right, then you come over to the object. You want to get the pattern on. All right, and just come to vector mask, add vector mask, so it automatically just crunches out every other thing outside this particular ring of the circle. All right, so that's how I got to do that, and I got rid of this other part of this thing. So this picture and this picture are the same thing, so I basically just duplicated this picture to this, then flipped it horizontally. All right, so that's about how I got that. All right, then next thing I added, okay, there's something on top of this, which is this particular thingy here. Right, so I got this off Envato. It's actually an art I got off Envato Elements. All right, so by the way, like I said before, I have premium packs I downloaded off Envato, which includes text, fonts, effects, pictures. I know that you can really find helpful to your design career. So if you need those resources, you can slide in my DM on Instagram, and I'll send you the link to download them. It's actually not free, right? So you pay and you download them with a couple of other PSD files and all you can get to. All right, so that's about that. Then I got this off Envato, like I said. So I got it, then I skewed it a little bit. All right, if you notice, there's a skewing at this point. I skewed it a little bit because of what I wanted to achieve in the end. So I added this other picture in front, right? So I skewed this particular one behind because of this picture. I didn't want it protruding out somewhere here, which it was doing initially. So I just skewed it. How do you skew? You come on that object, Control T or Command T, your keyboard, then you right click, you say warp. All right, not skew, sorry, I was using the wrong word, warp. All right, so warp, then warp gives you more anchor points that you can adjust to your tastes. So it's in this, depending on what you actually want to do. All right, so that's about that. So the next thing, I added the levels layer to his face, right, because I needed it to come out brighter a little bit. All right, so the next layer I have here is this particular one. All right, it's like a mountain vector. All right, then I didn't need it to be this color, so I added levels to it. All right, so on the levels, this is what I have. All right, I brought down from your left to your right, you notice this shadows to highlight. So I brought the shadows up a little bit, so close to the highlight where it's almost not noticeable. Right, I get it back here, gets back into character. Boom, moving the slider to where I put it. So it's just everything is just based on preference, personal preference, what exactly I'm trying to achieve. All right, so I move it down there, then I added hue and saturation because I didn't want the color. Right, so I got rid of the color with my hue and saturation. I took my saturation down to what do you call it, -10. All right, so once you take a saturation down, whatever hue you have is insignificant. All right, it's quite insignificant because saturation is 0, so it means there's no color. All right, so basically this is more like the foundation of what the design is. Then every other thing is more like additives to pad up the design. So I got to add this date. All right, so this is more like a text around the circle. All right, there are so many tutorials on that online. All right, how to get a text around a circle. All right, then I have 20th of July 2024. So this is actually a smart object. So if you purchase this PSD, you'll be able to have access to this smart object and make adjustments however you want to. The name of the font will be definitely on the project. All right, so you can download this, a free font. All right, so next thing, I started adding my rectangles for the name. All right, and I did a long shadow for the IB Douglas. There are so many ways to achieve long shadows in Photoshop, so there are so many tutorials on that on Instagram. I won't be explaining that today. All right, so and yes, I did a long shadow for the IB Douglas. Then this is the shadow for the rectangle that has the happy birthday. All right, so that one also has a shadow, but it's not a long shadow. Okay, then start adding some other things. Excuse me, like the text. All right, so this text is just the same as this text though. So I just brought it and I put it down here, more like a happy birthday text. Then I added my logo. All right, then most times my icing on the cake for most of my designs is basically the color gradients. All right, and this is my way of color grading. Everybody has their different ways and techniques of color grading, but this one actually helps me color grade the full project all at once, all at the same time. So I go to my gradient map. All right, this is what I have here. So if you notice, it has now popped up every color on the design to a particular pattern. Right, so on my gradients map, this is the color combination I have. All right, so this is just different variants of what pink. All right, because of the way the pink flamingo and all that was looking, so I felt okay, let's do pink. All right, so that's that about that. The blend mode of that particular gradient map is soft light. All right, and I dropped the opacity to 39% because that's where it felt very good. So next thing I did was to add a vibrance layer. Right, I added the vibrance layer. So if you notice, the colors now pop more. Alright, to the vibrance, the colors now come up and pop more, make them richer. Then I added the color adjustment layer because the whole thing was looking way so out of balance, as the highlights were not highlighting and the shadows were also not shadowing. But with this color adjustment layer, I was able to achieve that. So see what the color adjustment layer looks like. Alright, I just cranked up the highlight a little bit. Alright, so that was that about the first artboard. Alright, so here's the second artboard. Okay, this was not the second artboard I did though, but almost followed the same principles. Alright, so I'll just rush through it. So unlike the first one, alright, this second one was now had a different approach. So the blend mode of this one is normal. The opacity is at 65 compared to what the opacity is the first one, which is 5. Alright, so I needed the opacity of this one to come up because I wanted to try a different angle to the design. Alright, so this one, the opacity is at 65%. Although I've colored it, I've changed the color layer. This is what it was before, then I changed the color layer to blue because I wanted something a design, a cold kind of feel design. Right, so I started adding my other things. This is the line I had before, so I just changed the color to white so that it blends well with this. All right, so the circle to change to blue. All right, the trees inside the circle still maintain their what do you call it, their look. So the flamingo, all right, the flamingo still had this color. I did change that for some very weird reason. Alright, then IB's pictures. Alright, nothing much, just the same process. Alright, so we have this. Alright, then my name. Then here the gradient map changes because now I need something very, very bluish. Alright, so on my gradient map, this is what I have. Have this. All right, these shades of sky blue, this one and this. Right, then okay. Right, opacity is 39%, and the blend with soft light. And I'll add my vibrance as normal. All right, then my curves adjustment layer. All right, so what I also do to give my my design some very nice dreamy effect is that I now add a new layer on top. All right, add a new layer on top to give it a, so what I use is I hold the topmost layer. All right, hold the topmost layer, hold topmost layer, then I hold Control Alt Shift E, so it groups all this that particular palette or that particular artboard into one art. So I come to filter, I come to blur, come to Gaussian blur. It gives me this, then I okay it. Then I can come to my blend mode, come to screen or lighting, or any of these ones really. Okay, but I'll just have to turn down this thing down. So I think this light color is okay. So what I can do is I can just reduce this opacity. So I reduce this opacity, alright, to something minimum that we can also see through and all of that. So that's that about that and how I achieved to get this particular one. Alright, so the next artboard, right, is almost actually the same thing. Right, it's almost actually the same thing. The same thing. So we have the flower, all of that. So I'll just keep explaining because I've explained all of that to you. So in case you need the PSD files, please don't forget to reach out on IG so that we'll talk business. Then I'll send you the link. Right, so this is me trying to what do you call it? Oh, I've forgotten. I'll remember later. So I'm revealing all of this, basically almost the same thing with what we had here. I think there's just a slight change at the top which I would explain. All right, so you have all of this. All right, so the next thing I do was to the same thing I did in the previous artboard. Come to my topmost layer, Control Alt Shift E. Right, so I have this particular one which is a composite of all the elements in this particular artboard. So there's this Miami action template I got, or preset I got of Envato elements. So that's what I actually used on this particular one. So I came to my windows, come to actions, all right, which is already here. So now on these oceans, I can choose any of these particular actions to work. So what I choose on it, then I come to play. I click on play. So it renders that particular thing below it to the type of grading it thinks you might need. So I didn't really need this because it was looking too harsh. So let's say I think I did with one. I vibed with the first one instead of let it load. Alright, so there you have it. Right, I think this is the first one. Sorry, I'm really doing so much. So automatically once you do that, it opens up 2 extra distance for you. So I think that's exactly what's happened. So let me play this again. So you can also get these actions too when you download my resource pack. Right, to be part of the resource pack for you to go and experiment with in your other designs and try out something new. Right, so that's that about that. It kept on giving us this. So where is the original one? Okay, here's the original one. So okay, I think I did something. Let me reverse my move. Okay, so okay, you have this. All right, after playing this thing, then you have this other one on top, which is a duplicate but in screen, the same way I did to add this dreamy effect. To add dreamy effect to this is the same principle I used for this particular one. All right, so I duplicated the one I played the action over and got this. So once I got this, I came to what screen. All right, so I moved the opacity down to 54 and the fill at 85. So now, like I would always say, this is based on personal preference. All right, personal preference. Right. So I think the last but not the least is I got this particular one from this original, if you notice. All right, so what I just did, I just played the action over this particular thing or this particular grouping. All right, I came here and I don't think I used the action here though. All right, I don't think I used the action here. So I duplicated this particular layer again. Okay, then the same Gaussian blur, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. All right, then change the change the blend mode to screen, opacity to 49, fill is at 100. Right, to give me this particular dreamy, very dreamy effect. All right, so that's that about that, and that's really that about this whole project. As simple as it is, not so much going on, but it's straight to the point and it's functional. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, thank you guys, and I know in coming days I'll definitely do so much other breakdowns. All right, so thank you so very much for your time, and if you actually love this design and you want to get the PSD file, the link will be on the description. All right, so you can get there and download the PSD of this particular design. So thank you so much for your time, and God bless you. Bye. Peace.